Y'all, hey, welcome back to my channel. Thanks so much for stopping by, y'all. Spring has finally sprung here in the Northland. Hang on, let me show you before we get out of the neighborhood, and I gotta actually pay attention. Look how absolutely beautiful it is. I know, those of you that live places that have actual like beautiful springs are like, that ain't nothing. I know. I used to live somewhere with a beautiful spring, but this is what we get, so we take it where we can get it. I'm just playing. It really is pretty. The intern and I were talking the other day about how it's so funny that it seems like literally overnight it goes from like absolute barren trees, like not a bud, no nothing, to just all of a sudden everything is all green. And it happens every year. And every year we go, oh my gosh, everything is so green all of a sudden, like it doesn't happen every year. Anyway, I just thought I would share that before I get us down to business. So, y'all, it occurred to me that we have not talked books in a while, like just sat down and talked about books. And I know it's my fault. I know that like I plan to talk books and then this happens or that happens or I buy something and we got to talk about that. So that's what I want to do today. Is I just want to talk about books, and I got to tell y'all what just happened. But before we get into all that, y'all go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with the shenanigans. Because y'all, the shenanigans on this channel, like I told you last week, or in my little like shorty video, if anybody actually watched that, the shenanigans on this channel is now going to be just straight up book stuff, because I'm taking all of my food and fitness stuff off of here over to FtDanielleReads. So if you're looking for that, it's over there. But anyway, I gotta tell you what just happened. So I was at the house, sitting on the couch, just minding my own business, and the intern came in. And he said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm just waiting. And he said, waiting for what? And I said, well, I have books coming today, so I'm waiting for the brown man. And he said, so you're just sitting here waiting? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, like, did you track it? Is he in the neighborhood? He said, I didn't see him when I pulled in. Is he in the neighborhood? And I said, I don't know. I'm just waiting. And he said, so you're just going to sit here? And I was kind of like sitting in the chair, kind of looking towards the door. And he said, you're just going to sit here and stare at the door and wait for the brown man to get here to bring your books. And I said, yeah, it's books. I have books coming. Like what do you not understand about books? I have books coming. He's like, honey, you might need to walk this off. Like, go outside, get some air, maybe touch some grass. You cannot sit here all day and just wait for your books to get here. That is crazy. So I was like, fine. And I needed to run to the Walmart and pick up some prescriptions anyway. So I was like, fine, I will go out and touch some grass. So that's what we're doing. We're running to the Walmart to pick up my prescriptions because the intern thought that I looked a little off my rocker, sitting at the door looking all anxious, or sitting on the couch looking all anxious at the door waiting for my books to get there. But I tell y'all what, I'm really just biding my time because I'm gonna go get my prescriptions and then go back to the house. And as soon as the intern leaves, I'm gonna sit right back down on the couch and wait for my books. Actually, no, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna run through the shower. I've already worked out. Sorry about this. As you can see, I've already worked out. I'm gonna run through the shower, and then once my books get there, we will sit down, we will go through, y'all, I got some good ones coming today. So, and I have some other stuff I want to talk about, so let's do that. I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna get my books together, and we'll sit down, go over the books that are getting there today. Let me slow down, lest I get a ticket. So I was thinking there was something else I wanted to tell y'all about. I know what it was. So, I asked y'all to like this video, blah, blah, the whole thing. Well, I got a comment the other day, and let me tell you in no uncertain terms, whenever I get a snarky comment, this is the voice in which I read it. So I got a comment the other day that said, I don't know why content creators ask you to like, subscribe, and thumbs up a video before you even watch the video. If somebody likes a video, they'll subscribe to your channel. Otherwise, they won't. Let me tell you why I ask you to, I ask you to like a video because I want you to like my videos, but to subscribe at the beginning of the video is so you don't forget. Because y'all, my analytics tell me how many of y'all have are regular viewers of my videos and don't subscribe. So I hope that if I remind you in the beginning to subscribe, that you'll go ahead and do it, because you're coming back for more already anyway, right? So you may as well subscribe. And I ask you in the beginning, and then I ask you in the end. So that's why I do it at the beginning. And I don't know why I'm even answering this troll's question, because I guarantee you he dropped that question, got off the video, and will never ever be back, which is fine with me, because y'all, we don't need that kind of negative energy at this party. So I know. I have a friend who right now is losing his dang mind. He like helps me sort of manage my YouTube content and like my social media stuff. And he says, do not reply to trolls. I know. And definitely don't reply to trolls in a video. I'm replying to this troll in my video anyway. All right. Let me get my stuff. Let me get back to the house. I'm going to get cleaned up. I will get my books together and we will talk about, I got to get through this intersection, y'all. Hang on. We will haul the books that I have coming. I have some other books there to haul too. I want to talk about my TBR, and y'all, Summerween is coming. So I know it's not coming like in a minute, but I'm going to do it. So I want to tell y'all about it in case anybody else wants to do it too. So let me get back to that. Let me get my stuff. Let me get back to the house and we'll get into all of that stuff. All right. So y'all sit tight and I'll see you back at the house. All right, y'all. We have obviously made it home. Let me try to get us set up some kind of way here. We've obviously made it home. I've dragged myself through the shower. I got the books, and I'm just going to tell you it was well worth the wait. We have a furry felon here. Bobo Doggins has joined us. Come here, buddy. He's just going to be in the way. Y'all move. Go on. He's going to try to help. I've tried to organize my books, but y'all know how that goes. So I'm just going to jump straight in and start talking, and we'll just sort of like talk our way around this thing, around this dog, really. Bo, move. Go. Let's start with Remarkably Bright Creatures. So first we're going to haul, and then we'll do, I don't know, talk about what I'm going to read. And then I told y'all before, I want to talk about Summerween. So Remarkably Bright Creatures. So this book, I'm trying to get it where you can actually see, has been out for a while, but y'all, it just came out in paperback. And look, it is so beautiful, and it has the fancy edges. I know they're called sprayed edges, but Bobo Doggins calls them fancy edges, and he can't read anyway, so I just let him call it that. But y'all know how I love books with fancy edges. So I've been looking at this book forever. It's been recommended to me. Folks have told me I have to read it. I believe it's about a woman, and look, like if you look at this, you're just like, oh, that's a pretty watercolor. It took me forever to finally notice it's a woman. I mean, I knew obviously the octopus, but it's about a woman who I think, does she work at an aquarium or volunteer at an aquarium or go all the time to an aquarium? And somehow she becomes friends with an octopus. And one of them is a remarkably bright creature. I don't know which one, but I have heard the book is fantastic, and I just finally had to get it because it has fancy edges. Bobo Doggins is over there acting like he's going to jump up on the back of the couch, which means he's about to start barking at chipmunks. So I'm going to have to go deal with him in a second, but we'll keep going until we do. So I got this one. Y'all know how I love me some Lucy Score. This is the new Lucy Score, Story of My Life. And it's about an author. Books about authors just make me happy. So it's about an author who ends up leaving some big city and moves to a small town and writes the story of her life. Tries to find a new life. No. Somehow she ends up going there looking for some guy she saw, like, I'm looking at the cover to see if I can get any kind of clues. Looking for a guy that she saw like in an ad or something. And she has to write a book. She has like a deadline to write her next book or something. Story of my life. And did I show you look at the edges on this one? Right? I grabbed this one. We already had this one. This one I bought just because of the fancy edges. This is from a while ago, so don't be judging me that I bought like 5 books just because they have fancy edges. Runaway Love, this was the one about, I think, I seriously bought it just for the edges. I think it's a single dad who ends up hiring a nanny who ran away from, I'm going to make it up. I'm just going to make it up and I'm going to sell it like I know it. It's a story of a single dad, okay, hang on. Forget that. It's the story of a man whose wife leaves him, so he becomes a single dad, and he ends up hiring a nanny who just shows up on his doorstep one day. Sold that. Okay, I really don't know what this is about, but I loved the edges, so I just grabbed it to go along with my fancy edges collection. And did I show y'all this when it came, Onyx Storm? I've had this for a little while. It's, of course, the 3rd book in the 4th Wing collection. So it's 4th Wing, almost a Chariots of Fire. That is, not only is that so not right, that is so 80s that I've just embarrassed the fool out of myself. And now I can't even think of that. Am I blushing? My goodness, y'all. 4th Wing, Iron Flame, neither a chariot nor a fire, and Onyx Storm. And let's see, it's kind of boring, but the sprayed edges make it, absolutely make it. And of course it's got the lovely, the maps on the end papers. So those are very pretty. So this is, I've not even cracked this yet. This, y'all, so 4th Wing was emotionally trying. Now I just want to say Onyx Storm the whole time. Iron Flame, I don't want to give any spoilers, even though the book's been out for a couple of years. I hate it. Y'all know I hate it when people talk about a book series and they give, like, I feel like when you talk about a series, you're like trying to invite people who haven't read the series to read the series. So you talk about how great the series is. So don't give spoilers from book 1 because you're talking about book 4. What kind of animal are you? Anyway, so I want to be careful talking about Iron Flame. But so 4th Wing is heartbreaking. So it's about, Lord have mercy if I said even a single thing. It is a war that's fought on dragons, almost said dinosaurs, dragons, and you fall in love with the people, with the flyers, with the fighters, with the dragons. You fall in love with all of it, the world building, the battle that they're fighting, the whole thing. And of course it's a war, so people die, and they're dragons. Dragons die, y'all. So anyway, and then in Iron Flame, you revisit. Not only do you get new heartbreak in Iron Flame and learn things that you're not ready to know, you revisit the heartbreak from 4th Wing in a just absolutely devastating way. So I'm very concerned about Onyx Storm. I'm very, very worried about what Rebecca Yarros is going to do to us next, because you know they always have to up their game. So anyway, nothing about nothing. Look at how beautiful this book is, and fancy edges. So those are my fancy edge books. Now let's just get into these. This whole video is just going to be about how crazy I am. So let's just go on and hunker down and settle into that. Y'all remember, did I even I showed y'all that I got this book, right? So Magnolia Parks. I became obsessed with this cover of Magnolia Parks, and y'all, it just feels good. I got this. I know, I'm gonna give you, you know what? My tea just dinged. I'm gonna run and grab my tea. I'm gonna give y'all a second to judge me. I'm gonna grab my tea and I'll be right back. All right, are you over your judgy bits? To encourage you to get over your judgy bits, y'all, I'm gonna let you enjoy. Look at my new teacup. Isn't it fabulous? And it's so sparkly now. I realized once I got it home, can y'all see that? There's like one spot right here where one of the sparklies is missing. So I keep telling myself I need to leave the lid off so it can cool some. Because, of course, the tea in there is hotter than the hammered down hinges of hell. And I'll forget and I'll go and suck down hot tea and burn myself. But anyway, I keep telling myself that I need to go over the hill and take that back to Dunkin' Donuts and exchange it for one that does not have missing shiny bits. But then I'm like, seriously, get over yourself. So I'm working that out in my mind. And while I do that, let's talk about Magnolia Parks. So I got this version of Magnolia Parks when I couldn't find this one. So I have this one, but then I found this one. And so I got this one too. So now I have this one to do a face out. Y'all probably saw it if you saw my bookshelf tour. If you made it through my bookshelf tour with all my spinnings and movings about. I got this one. So this is like a face out on my bookshelf. And then this one I will actually read. And I know y'all are like, Danielle, you've owned this copy of this book for like a year and a half. Why should we believe you're going to read it now? Because, you dowdy naysayers, I got Daisy Hates, which is the next one, the book 2 in the series, and look, it goes with this one. So I'm 100, we're not doing a TBR, quit it, but I'm 100% going to read Magnolia, and this is how this whole thing got into this video is, this is part of the haul is I just got Daisy Hates. Look at Daisy's cute shoes, y'all. I know. So it is my understanding that Magnolia Parks, y'all remember the show Gossip Girl? I'm not going to say I was obsessed with Gossip Girl, but XOXO. I've been led to believe that Magnolia Parks is like a book, like Gossip Girl, but just in a book. And I know there are books of Gossip Girl. I don't want to read those. I want to read Magnolia Parks. So I'm going to read Magnolia Parks. But I'm legit going to read it now. So I'm going to set those all aside. This is so random. Dungeon Crawler Carl. And y'all, you have to say Carl, like from The Walking Dead. If you've watched now I didn't make it all the way through The Walking Dead. I think I made it to like season 6. When the dude showed up with the bat, I was like out, like I couldn't do that anymore. So, and the sound, I was over it anyway, but I made it through like 6 seasons. If you've watched any seasons of Walking Dead, the name Carl is Carl in your head. So Dungeon Crawler Carl is about, so it's an look how cute. I haven't even looked at this yet. It's an apocalyptic, like, reality TV show. And Carl, so apparently one day something happens and like the whole earth gets leveled. And so Carl has to survive the dungeon with just him. It's just Carl and his ex-girlfriend's cat, whose name is like Princess Fiona or something, or like Princess Buttercup Fancy Pants, something, I don't know. But so Carl has to survive this. Did I say it's a reality TV show? So the apocalypse is a reality TV show. And Carl has to survive with, there she is, there's Princess Fiona Buttercup Fancy Pants. I don't know the cat's name. Can you tell? I know you can't tell. Anyway, so they have to survive the apocalypse together in this. And I think, so apparently there are books that are like role-playing game books. I don't know. I have a student who reads RPG books, which I want so much to judge, but he's reading. I think he's listening to them on Audible, but whatever. We'll talk about that. You know what? Maybe one day we will talk about the difference in cognitive engagement between listening to a book, reading a book, and reading a graphic novel. But today is not that day because today we're enjoying books. So I'm excited to, and can y'all see it's like different, like it's shiny and it's matte and it's all kinds of things. This was it wasn't recommended to me, but a vlogger that I like talked about this, and I was like, oh yay, I'm going to get that, and it's going to be great, and I'm going to love it, and blah, blah. And there's another cover of Carl. I'm not going to get all obsessed with the other cover of Carl like I got obsessed with the other Lord have mercy, other cover of Magnolia Parks, but there is one. So she talked about it. She enjoyed it. She was getting the next book. And I was like, oh, yay, I like her. I'll like them. And then, y'all, my world came crashing down when I can't remember I can't remember what vlogger it was, but I remember this vividly. She was talking about how she and another vlogger, so this vlogger who I can't remember who it was talking about another vlogger that I don't even know who that is, and how they often agree on, like, they like the same books and they dislike the same books, except the other vlogger that she's friends with loved Butcher and Blackbird and she didn't like it at all. I'm like, how am I taking recommendations from somebody who doesn't like Butcher and Blackbird? So that was an oversight on my part, but we're going to try. I'm kidding, y'all. I'm kind of, I mean, it's not like it was Beartown. It was almost Beartown, but it's not like it was Beartown. But I just lost my mind a little bit. We're going to try Dungeon Crawler Carl and see how it goes. Y'all, this is a long, but it's long, but look how, like, look at the typeset, like it's wide. I'm trying to convince myself that this is not going to be a huge commitment. Dungeon Crawler Carl. Broken Country. This, I don't even know how I came upon this book. Look at the cover. It's so pretty. And it's not, okay, I kind of bought it because the cover is pretty. But, so this is about Beth, who is our female main character, living this quiet, happy little country life until the wheels just fall off. When, I don't know what happens, something happens, and her past life comes like rushing back, and she has to deal with this sort of interaction between her past life and her present life. And I'm not sure what it was that happened in her past life, but she was all about keeping it buried until something brought, like, the first love of her life. Look how pretty it is. Like, it's sort of plain and country, but pretty, right? Look. So, I know, I'm not making it sound interesting at all, but I'm really kind of excited to read it and just see what it is. Because, it's something about, something happens, and she's, like, married and all happy, but then, I know I've said all these same things already. Something brings the first love of her life, like, back into the picture. And then she has to deal with all of that. All right, I'm going to wrap around back around to this stack that you can't see anyway. This is it's a reread for me. The Gungle. I read and listened to this on Audible. There are a few books that I have listened to on Audible that were, like, read or performed or whatever by the author. And, like, I swore off listening to books by the author, which we're going to talk about that in a minute. But I enjoyed the book. I enjoyed the story. I hated the performance by Stephen Rowley. Like, he read it. I said that, right? That he read it on Audible. So I'm going to actually read it again, but I'm going to read it like eyeballs on words on pages, like turning pages, physical book. And look how cute the book is. So this is about the Gungle, the gay uncle of these two Chirins, and it happens early enough in the book, I can tell you this. Their mama dies, and they end up going to spend the summer with their gay uncle in Palm Springs. And y'all, it is the sweetest, most touching, funniest book, because he don't know nothing about raising no Chirins, and they don't know nothing about living in Palm Springs with their gay uncle, but it's just perfect. It is absolutely perfect. And they're all dealing with their grief and just the loss. And it's fantastic. And I'm excited to read it again, but actually read it like, so that my head makes the voices of the characters and stuff. I know they're his characters. I know y'all get off me, but I just didn't enjoy his performance. Another one, I listened to Fannie Flagg doing, was it Redbird Christmas, I think? One of her Christmas books. Didn't enjoy it the least little bit, so I stopped, went back and, like, eyeballs on pages, read the book, loved this. I love Fannie Flagg, y'all. Loved the story, just didn't like hearing her performance. So then I was like, well, maybe I don't like listening to authors do their own thing. I don't know. We'll talk about that in a minute. Lessons in Chemistry. Did I show y'all this when I got it? I've had it for a while. But this is look. It's got a sticker. See the price sticker? It's in pounds. I know, right? I'm so cosmopolitan. This is the British released cover of this book. I never got it, never read it, never wanted to read it because I didn't like the American cover of it. So I got this cover. I know, y'all, I am every bit that shallow. But look at this. Look, look, look. I know. I know. So it's about a female chemist, I believe in the 60s. And she's dealing with like all of the maleness of the STEM fields in the 60s. Specifically the S of the STEMs, science in the 60s. And she becomes, I know everybody's read this book. I don't know why I'm telling this like anybody hasn't read it. Anybody that hasn't read it, she has a, can y'all see that picture? A TV cooking show, but she's a chemist. So she does TV cooking like a chemist. And I'm finally going to read this. Again, this apparently has turned into a TBR. Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. Y'all, I love Barbara Kingsolver. If you haven't read the Poisonwood Bible, we're not talking about it today, but it is a fantastic, lovely, absolutely beautiful book about the heartbreaking realities of missionary life. This is not that. Check this out. I know. Just absolutely beautiful, like just breathtakingly beautiful in its austerity. So I do know what this book is about, and I'm so excited to read it. I think I'm going to read this when I look at y'all, seriously. So I know I'm outside my head about this book. The outside of the cover of the book jacket is, can y'all see? It's like matte and it's got like a little bit of a texture to it. And look at the inside. It's like pearly white. I can go on for 20 minutes about this. We'll probably talk about this when we read the book. This is about a boy who's born in Appalachia. Now, let me tell you what. I am obsessed with the culture of Appalachia because, and you can say I'm stereotyping, you can say I am reducing an entire culture of people to my base understandings, but Appalachia is if you're not from America, I'm sorry if I'm like speaking Greek and you don't know what I'm talking about. The Appalachian Mountains is a mountain range that runs down the eastern part of the United States. And the part, I don't know if all of the mountain range is called Appalachia, but the part that is definitely referred to as Appalachia has been hit with some of the most abject poverty. And many of the people there live in the most dire conditions you can imagine. And many of the areas are the most beautiful, just naturally beautiful parts of the world that you will ever see. And many of the people who live there just refuse to leave. Like they have nothing. There is nothing there. There has been nothing there. And a lot of it is like mining, like areas that grew up around mines. And so when the mining industry left, there was nothing left there. And so the areas are just poor. And when areas become poor like that, often things like alcohol and drugs take root. And that becomes sort of a like insipid part of the culture. And once that gets in there, it's hard to get out. And a lot of times when you see and hear and read stories about Appalachia, that's what you see. But if you really look, what the story that you should really see is the sort of underlying story of the people and the culture there, which is absolutely beautiful. That people there, it's not that like they don't leave because they have nowhere to go. They don't leave because they can't imagine leaving that land that is so much a part of them and their families and their people. And they're just strong and hardy, and they love their land, and they love each other, and they love their families. And that's sort of the culture of Appalachia. And that's what I love about it, and that's why I'm obsessed with it. Not, it's not the page 6-ness of it, the fact that, people there are so broken, and that some of the stories that come out of there are so outlandish. That's not what I find intriguing about Appalachia. It's what it is that makes people want to stay there. Sorry, I got way off on a tangent there, but I just wanted to be super clear about why I am so obsessed with Appalachia and why I'm so excited to read this book. Demon Copperhead is about a boy who is born in just abject poverty in Appalachia to a single mom, I think, and you just sort of follow him as he grows up and deals with all of the things about Appalachia. And I've read that Barbara Kingsolver's presentation of the culture of Appalachia is second to none. So I am so excited to read this. And I love Barbara Kingsolver, so I believe that she will do a fantastic job. So that's that. Sorry, that was a bit of a tangent. Babel. Have we looked at this copy of Babel? Y'all, this book is beautiful. This now we are kind of getting into like a mixture. There are still some new books here, but this is TBR, and you'll understand when we get to, sorry, this is going really long. I'm going to speed up, but you'll understand when we get to, I love the sort of, again, austerity of this book. It's just so plain, but it's pretty. And this is what Babel should look like. Sorry, what I was saying when I interrupted my own self was, you'll understand when we get to Summerween, why we're talking about Babel. But Babel is a book that I've had it for a while. I've been putting off reading it because look at it. But look how pretty it is. But I find it so intimidating. It is about something about translators at Oxford, I believe. And I think that there is a lot to do with, there's a lot of politics that goes into translation, because translators often end up generally end up influencing the finished product. So when the dominant culture does the translation, elements of the dominant culture end up in the translation, if that makes any sense at all. So I think it has a lot to do with, like, I think a lot of what Babel deals with is like dominant culture, colonization, that kind of stuff. It's dark academia, has something to, like, there's some kind of magic going on here, some kind of maybe allomancy, I don't know. But I'm excited to read it. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but when I was in grad school, I studied I studied religion, was one of my things, and like one of my degree paths. And so when you study religion, you study, like, you have to do it in the languages. So I've done, not original translation, but I've done translations from old texts. And it really does become not an obsession, but really kind of an obsession to get to the oldest text that you can work with, so that you're not dealing with somebody else's translation of the text. Like, you want to get past as many translators as you can to get down as close as you can to the original. So anyway, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of that in here. Babel. I'm so excited about this. Y'all, look how little this one is, for one thing, after looking at Babel. The 7-Year Slip is by the author Ashley Poston, the author of Dead Romantics. Remember how much we loved Dead Romantics, which was about an author who ends up in love with, I'm trying to think how soon. Yeah, we learned this really quickly. Ends up in love with the ghost of, it's like her editor or somebody. And so it's y'all, I loved that book. It broke my heart. I love that book. But it's about, it's a love story, but it's also about sort of the limitations of, being in love with a ghost. Well, this one is about, I think she's an author, maybe she's a publisher, who falls in love with her temporary roommate, who turns out he's from 7 years ago or 7 years in the future or something. There's this like 7-year slip in between them. Stop it. Just cut it straight out. So there's that. I hope, oh yeah. Oh, romantic and irresistible. I saw romantic. I was thinking it was going to say something about, oh, there it is, the dead romantics. Anyway, so there's that. Now, let's get into some folks that we know. Allie Hazelwood. Y'all, look how cute this is. So this, I believe, yeah. A Stimonist novella collection. Danielle, slow down and sound out your words. So these are novellas. I'm so excited. Remember, I can't remember what, it might have been when we were reading Iron Flame that I had to take a break because I was getting so heartbroken that I went and read a couple of novellas, and I believe there was an Allie Hazelwood novella in there. So I'm excited for these. And again, when we talk about Summerween in a couple of minutes, which we got to get there, y'all. We've been talking for an hour. You'll understand why we have that. All the Colors of the Dark, I think, oh yeah. So this one, I don't know a ton about this, except that it has something to do with, it's some kind of killer mystery. And some girls are disappearing. Is it in Texas? Missouri. It's in Missouri, I think. Some girls are disappearing, and this boy ends up saving a girl. And so then he gets like sucked into the whole serial killer, dead girls mystery. I don't know if y'all know this, but I love serial killers. So I know, Butcher and Blackbird, I know that says some things about me that we might not want to say about our friends. Stop it. But I think, yeah, it's like a mystery trying to solve the disappearance of the girls and the whole serial killer thing. I'm excited. We're going to read this. I'm not ready for this one, y'all. I'm not ready for this one. I got the new Frederick Bachman. I know. No, I know. Oh, look, it's so country. It's still got the paper in it. So I don't often buy from Barnes & Noble, but when I do, it's the Barnes & Noble limited editions because they always have these lovely end papers. I think that's the only like special thing about them is the end paper. But look how pretty this is. I know I'm doing this so that we don't have to talk about this book because y'all know my issue with Frederick Bachman is Benji. He broke my heart so badly with Beartown. And I've read other books of his since Beartown, but I've heard from people who got the arc of this, like the advanced copy, to read and review, that people who like Frederick Bachman will love this. Y'all, I love Frederick Bachman. And they said that he creates this group of friends in a small town. I know. He did that to us before, y'all. It was Beartown. But so that's all I know, is that it's about a group of friends in a small town, and that's all I can bear to even know about this book. So I promise you I will read it. Not right now, but I will read it. And I'm not going to end up carrying it around and then not reading it like I did. Was it the one about my grandma told me to tell you something, told me to tell you come home for dinner, whatever it was. I don't know. I got the Great Big Beautiful Life, the new Emily Henry. Of course I got the new Emily Henry. I also got this one from Barnes because look, y'all, I can't stand how beautiful this book is. Ah, so pink. It is so pink. This one is about two authors, a male and a female. I think she is happy and he is grumpy. I know, so Emily Henry. But they are competing to try and write the biography of some, like, I almost said grumpy old woman. I don't think that's right. Maybe she is a grumpy old woman, but she's like a recluse. So they go to like this town to find her. And I think maybe we're not even sure that the person that says that it's her, we're not even sure it's really her. So of course they're going to, it's Emily Henry. So it's going to be, I can't love you, but I love you. What happens if I love you? Well, now I love you. It's going to be that. And I'm so excited to read it. And y'all, I've saved these for last. There's, you know what? Hang on. I want to show you just a couple of things on my Kindle. We're not even going to do a screen share. I'm just going to show you right here so that I don't suck us into some crazy thing. I put them in their own little file folder. And they are Kills Well with Others, which somebody recommended this, or like, I think they recommend. I was going to say either recommended it or just said that they were reading, and I was like, oh, I'm going to read that too. I think they recommended it. But this is book 2 in the, I don't know if it's a duology but it's definitely book 2. And it's about, I think they're hired killers of a certain age. I know, I'm so excited. But so I went ahead and got Kills Well with Others. But I got on the hold, like I put the first book on hold, which I think was like Killers of a Certain Age, I think it's called. So I got Kills Well with Others, and I got the Audible of I think this is a novella, Murderbot, because one, it's Murderbots, y'all, seriously. And I think this is about like Murderbots, like, you know, like murdery robots. And maybe our friend, the Murderbot, becomes sentient some kind of how, like develops feelings, understanding, ideas, something. So I got Murderbot. Oh, and just one more. I got Shark Heart, a love story. Let's talk about this for a second. Then we need to move on and talk about Summerween. Shark Heart is about this couple that gets married, but then, wait for it, the husband gets some kind of disease that's turning him into a great white shark. I know. Tusk, anyone? Y'all. This is just, well, okay, it's not just like, it's vaguely like the Kevin Smith movie Tusk, where the dude gets kidnapped and he's going to like Saskatchewan or somewhere to do an interview and gets kidnapped by a dude who turns him into a walrus. I know. Anyway, apparently this is actually a really good book, and it's like very sweet and very touching, and it's about Shark Heart. It's about like the artist. So the dude that's becoming the shark is an artist. So it's about like the artist's heart of this shark. All right, so that's what I have in my Kindle. Now, this is what we waited for, y'all. Remember how much we loved Legends and Lattes? I know, it's a hardcover collector's edition with, wait for it, can you stand it? This is what I was sitting, like I had a chair pulled over, sitting there staring at the door, waiting for the brown man to come to bring me these books. I can't, y'all. They are just so gorgeous. I am in love. I know. And I have the paperbacks of them, so I will never read these. I will just look at them and touch them and pet them. I got Legends and Lattes and Bookshops and Bone Dust. The second one. I know. And if anybody ever wants to borrow them, they can borrow the paperbacks. They ain't touching these. Are you out of your mind? Look. Oh, so excited. I'm so in love. Look. I'm so in love. All right. Those are my books. Now, let's talk about Summerween. Summerween is a summer reading event by a vlogger named, I think it's Gabby Reads. I'll link her in the comments. And the way that she does it is typically does it for a week. This year she's doing it for 8 days. Y'all, I'm not reading all this stuff in 8 days, but I will post my my plan is to post my Summerween video during her Summerween. But here's what it is she gives you prompts, and then you're supposed to read on those prompts during Summerween. And here are her Summerween prompts. Read a book in the dark. I did this a few years ago. Y'all may remember. Read a book in the dark. This is the one the intern and I went to see Dave Landau, a comedian up the road, like a few hours away, and we took the intern's sister's Winnebago, and so I was reading like in the Winnebago in the dark while we were at the comedy show, and got all scared because I thought I was seeing things outside, and the intern's like, stop, you need to stop it. Anyway, read a book in the dark, read a horror or thriller. Y'all, I'm not allowed to read scary books. And like once it starts to, it's better now because it stays light out until well past my bedtime. But yeah, I'm not allowed to read scary books in the dark. Read a book with the sky on the cover. So it can be like any amount of sky on the cover. I'm already kind of thinking about this. This is all kinds of a book with a sky on the cover. I know. So read a book with a sky on the cover. Read a book you've owned for a year or more. More. I know. Read a novella, manga, or listen to a spooky audiobook. Novella. And I have the Murderbots audiobook. So, ooh, I put blue and orange together. Sorry, go dogs. Let's move that. Oh, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it for Summerween. So, I am going to read some combination of those things. I'm going to do all of the Summerween things, but reading at night is going to be, like, I'm seriously not awake during the dark. Well, I am in the morning. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. But like I said, I'll link to Gabby's Summerween post. So if y'all want to do it with, it's in July. So like actual legit Summerween is in July. So I will post my Summerween video during the week of Summerween. But yeah, if y'all want to join, that would be, I mean, you won't be joining me, it's her thing. But that would be super cool. That would be so much fun. I'm excited. And I think that's it. Oh, that's good tea. So friends, that's my haul. Those are my books. Now you know what I'm going to be reading for the next, I don't even know how long. Let us know what you're reading. Drop it in the comments. What are you reading? What do you have coming up that you want to read? We didn't even talk about books that are coming out that I want to read that aren't even out yet. So let us know in the comments. What are you reading? What do you want to read? What do you plan to read? Just let us know. Y'all, thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you made it this far, we are most definitely friends. So go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with the shenanigans. I upload food and fitness videos over on FtDanielleReads at the beginning of every week, with some book videos on this channel sprinkled in between. See you on the next one.